Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking at Winter Storm Flynn here, that's going to affect the south, which it's doing right now, and then eventually make a run for the northeast. And then we're taking a look at Winter Storm Gale, soon to be Winter Storm Gale I should say, that is going to be a nor'easter that's going to form off the Carolinas and make a run for the northeast here. If we take a look at Winter Storm Flynn right now, that is affecting the south, you see you have cold air to the north of this list system, and then you have approximately the storm in that area. But if you transfer to the next slide here, you can see that the storm is on the border of Mississippi and Louisiana, and you can see that since it's going to be a lot less cold air at this time, there's going to be not as much snow around. You have snow changing to rain in parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and parts of Arkansas. And then the next slide, it's pretty much all gone, the snow, except for the very back of the storm. But if we take a look at the northeast here, the storm goes just north of North Carolina and affects and gives the area some snow, nothing too crazy. But if we fast forward to the next storm that we have, Winter Storm Gale here, if we go a little closer up, you can see there's a low pressure that comes down from northwest and the low goes into Kentucky. But that eventually dies off and you have another low system that transfers its energy to the coast and forms a low by the Carolinas. So just right then and there you see that you have cold air all the way down from Texas and back up to upstate Maine, New York, and New Hampshire. If we continue here with the run, you can see the next slide, you see that the low pressure is visible here on the GFS, and you can see that you have a high pressure up here that is going to wedge the cold air down here. That is going to force cold air from anywhere from Boston and along the coast and back into upstate Pennsylvania, New York, and even into Virginia. Now, there's going to be a tight cutoff here, depending on the track of the storm. At least on the GFS, it has similarities, believe it or not, to the winter storm of Jonas that caused the whole tri-state to go under 2 feet of snow. Parts of New York City got 27 inches, and Washington got over 2 feet here. You can see how the storm was just over here, and it curled back into the northwest. This causes more cold air to drop down and drag from Canada. You can see that the rain and snow line is just south of Long Island, and right there. So, at least for the GFS points of view, it shows that it's going to be an all-snow event for at least the coastal parts of Long Island, and not so lucky for parts of New Jersey. It looks like southern parts of New Jersey will turn over to rain. But Boston, Nantucket may even be all snow here, depending on the track of the storm. But then again, it all really does depend on the total track of the storm. If we take a look at the total snowfall here, you can see that there's a pretty sharp cutoff here. This is the 6-inch line right here, and then this is the 2-inch line. You don't have to go that much far north on the GFS to not get that as much snow as parts of the tri-state. Anywhere in this green is above a foot, which stretches from all the way back Virginia all the way onto Long Island, central New Jersey, southern parts of Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Anywhere in this purple is around 4 to 5 inches, which stretches from West Virginia, back up to Maryland, New Jersey, across Long Island, and out to the Cape and Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. If we take a look at a different model here that is called the Canadian, also known as a CMC, you can see that the storm, Winter Storm Flynn, is back in the south and tracks off to the east, giving some snow, but nothing too crazy. But if we take a look at Winter Storm Gale, soon to be Winter Storm Gale, you can see that on the Canadian, again the rain and snow line stays just south of Long Island, maybe touching the coast. Like if you're a mile inland, you will probably see rain at least on this run. But if you're like 5 miles inland, you probably will be all snow, at least shown by the Canadian. If we take a look by the total snowfall here, the 24-hour snowfall, you can see that the area could see a lot of snow here. Anywhere in this green is a foot plus. So that's pretty much just north of New York City. Long Island sees 10 to maybe 12 inches, at least shown by the Canadian. And then anywhere in this pink is 6 inches plus. The Canadian has a big swath of this. that stretches from Virginia all the way up to the most southern extreme parts of Maine right here. I think that's a little too far north because you have the blocking high, and I don't think that the storm will be able to go too far north before getting pushed out east, so we'll see about that. But if we take a look at a different model, that is one of my favorite models that I will have to say is the NAM. It is not totally far out yet, but it gets a we get a show of what it wants to do. You can see that the storm tracks. Winter Storm Flynn gets out of the south and tracks to the northeast. Rain changing to snow in parts of the coastal area. This is a colder look to that system. Then you have Winter Storm Gale to be tracking up into the northeast here. You can see that the snow, at least for Long Island, arrives around 7-ish, maybe even a little earlier, maybe 5, 6 o'clock. The rain and snow line just stays south of Long Island. Maybe sleet at times, but this could be just like your little pixels going up north, but we will have to see about that. If we take a look at one last run, because it doesn't go far out, you can see that the rain and snow line already starting to drop south at 1 a.m. Thursday. You have snow all the way back from western parts, of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, most northern parts of Virginia, Maryland, up through New Jersey, almost all of Long Island except the Forks out east, and the Plymouth, and back up to Maine. The heaviest snow, at least at the 1 a.m. time frame, is in this area, all the way from parts of New York onto Long Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania and New Jersey. But the extreme heaviest is back by Boston and Massachusetts. Now, the snow totals, at least for this hour at 1 a.m., for the NAM shows really big snow totals so far. You have almost a foot of snow on Long Island already, and you are clearly still have a lot of time to go on this system as shown by the NAM. It is only at New Jersey, and you have 8, possibly 10 inches of snow on the ground here. You have a foot in parts of just north of New York City, down by Virginia, all the way back up to Maryland and New Jersey and parts of Connecticut. There's a little patch of 2 feet plus, which is a bit extraordinary if you ask me, but we'll have to see if this holds up on the next run. If we take a look at the European here, it's almost like the GFS, but a little colder than the last 0Z run. The 12Z was the coldest of the bunch. You could see that Winter Storm Flynn passes off to the east, and then you have Winter Storm Gale to be determined come up to the northeast. Just to get a closer up view so you guys can all see it, you can see that it's almost an all snow event, if an all snow event for the northeast, at least on the coastal areas. The Forks may be getting onto maybe a little mixture of sleet, but 3/4 of Long Island, shown by the European, is all snow. If we continue here, you can see the storm starts to move eastward, so the rain and snow line moves well offshore of New Jersey, and maybe a little bit mixing extreme parts of the Forks on Long Island, but most of Long Island, if not all, is all safely snowing. There's still some heavy banding across Long Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and then that is pretty much that. If we continue here with the European as it moves out, the snow dissipates and the cold air is going to be extraordinary cold. You can see that this snowfall, shown by the European, has a big swath of 12 inches plus. Anywhere in this red here is 12 inches plus. You have close to 15 inches on Long Island, 20 inches in Connecticut and New York, just north of New York City, 22 inches in parts of northern and central New Jersey, and then you have this little pocket of 24 inches plus here. But then again, the European likes to overdo it a lot. I hope you all had a great time and enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe the video for more. Thank you. Have a great